Come on, baby.
Hey, welcome to the Noon Whistle. I'm John.
And I am Dustin.
And we're coming to you from the Elkhorn School District. An exciting topic today. We're going to interview Dustin. We're going to put you on the interviewee end, not the host end today.
That's good.
You ready for that?
I'm ready.
All right, heavy interrogation.
I'm just gonna sit back. Let's go. You run it now.
Heavy interrogation coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's that time of year. Many schools are starting already all around the area. In Elkhorn, we start here pretty soon, but when school is on the horizon, sometimes panic mode sets in and be like, "Ooh, I gotta get my schedule. My schedule needs to be adjusted. I need this, I need that." So they're working with counselors. It's a busy time, and it's also a busy time for students that are interested in doing a youth apprenticeship.
Okay.
So today, we're going to talk all things youth apprenticeship.
So what exactly is, when you say youth apprenticeship, to me, I think, oh, I get a job, or you get me a job and I go and I work. Is that true? Or what is a youth apprenticeship? How does that work?
So, yeah, I mean, that is the basis of it. The idea behind a youth apprenticeship is it is a kind of the ultimate capstone of a pathway that students will take here at in the Elkhorn area school district. So we are very intentional with students taking joining in pathways, exploring different pathways to find things that they like, find things they don't like, pivot, and then continue on so that they're as prepared as possible for life after Elkhorn area school district.
For someone that might not know, what's a pathway?
So a pathway, the easiest one that I could say, let's say healthcare. So a student is in a healthcare track. Let's say they want to be a nurse post high school. They could take multiple levels of healthcare that continue to stack on top. They could get CNA certified in the summer or during the school year at Gateway. They could go work at a local nursing home, at a local hospital as a CNA. And that would be a structured pathway all the way throughout. So they're gaining the skills in those classes. They're gaining certifications. They're gaining real world experience so that they can ultimately walk across the stage at graduation with an intentional next step of getting towards healthcare and ensuring that that is exactly what they want to do.
So what if I chose a pathway, let's say I chose electrical, but then I thought as I did it, like, I don't know if electrical's for me. Mm-hmm. Do I have to stay in that pathway? Can I change my pathway?
Absolutely. We are not expecting all students to fully understand that as a freshman, I'm going to join into this pathway and I'm going to stay there for the rest of my life. That's not how the world works. It's quick turnaround, right? I mean, kids are thinking every thought is changing every 5 seconds with every time they scroll, right? Like they are constantly changing, evolving. We want kids to explore. And the electrical pathway that you brought up is a very common one where kids will change, not necessarily electrical, but in the trades. Okay. Kids will pivot because let's say they're doing electrical and they're on the job site. Well, when they're on the job site, there's often plumbing and HVAC, general framing contractors. All of those different areas will be there and they'll see those spots. They'll talk, they'll have professional conversations with people in those fields. And it kind of sparks some interest. They'd be like, you know what? I actually am very interested in that. I didn't even really know that was an option. But now that I'm on the job site, I see how they interact and how they work. That could potentially be a pivot. So then a kid could take more classes in that. Maybe if it most likely will be offered at Elkhorn Area High School. If not, then it could be offered at Gateway Technical College. And if it's not offered here in Elkhorn, then we do have kids going to Racine and other areas too, just so they can take classes that we want access to all kids.
Do youth apprenticeships get paid?
100%. So youth apprenticeship, so the very basics of it is ideally a student is in a pathway. They find out, you know what, I really like, let's say healthcare. I have my CNA certification. I'm going to go work at Aurora Lakeland over here in the Surge Center as a CNA. A youth apprenticeship in that capacity now is a employee of Aurora Lakeland.
Okay.
So that student has to apply, they have to interview, they have to gain employment, and then they have to maintain employment. There's multiple requirements of the program. This is not just a unique to Elkhorn program. This is a statewide Department of Workforce Development program, students have to be paid at least a minimum wage. They have to work a total of 450 hours throughout that experience. So if a student were to start September 1st,
Yep.
by May 28th, when they graduate or when they finish that school year, ideally they're getting 450 hours.
Okay.
Now that's not always the case. We can live in a little bit of a gray area. So if they're working through the summer, we can continue that on because they can technically sign up as late as March 1st, and then they don't have to finish until the following August 31st. So we have almost more than a full calendar year that they could gain those hours. The main thing is that it has to be paid. It has to be a legit employer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you own your own business, sometimes those are very tricky to navigate. But when you talk with the state, sometimes they really enjoy and love those experiences because it's so valuable for kids. So they will have some flexibility there. But typically it has to be an employer that's not part of the family. You have to have someone that's not your mom or dad supervising you. And it has to be, like I said, it has to be paid, and it has to accumulate up to 450 hours. So the student signing on or an employer signing on to a youth apprenticeship saying, yes, I will bring this student on in this capacity, will guarantee them access to at least 450 hours of work throughout the duration that they're there.
Okay.
So to make this very simple, if a student starts September 1st and they end May 28th, they're going to average roughly 13 to 15 hours of work a week. John, we have many students right now working 20 to 30 hours a week.
Sure.
So that requirement is not super difficult for most kids.
And does this all fit within their schedule? Like when they do their schedule, and you mentioned early on working with counselors and that, this is all formatted so that maybe some people do their youth apprenticeship in the morning, some do it in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What about if, let's say I want to go to college and get into engineering, but I thought, would it be applicable if I did a youth apprenticeship in the electrical field to go, hey, that might really help me understand some things, even though I really don't want to be an electrician, I want to be an engineer. Is
100%.
That applicable?
100%. So one of the requirements that I left off that I need to touch on is that a student also has to be enrolled in one full credit of related instruction. So let's use your example, which is great because we actually have a young man doing that right now who's in a phenomenal experience. He is a pre-engineering track. That's what he would like to do. He's taken all of the engineering classes at the high school. He's in AP Physics, AP Calc, doing all those things to set himself up for success at a 4-year school in engineering. But he wanted to know how those machines actually work, how the material actually reacts to some of those machines and things like that. So not only he's learning a lot of the theory, a lot of the applications that way, but now he wants to actually get in and get dirty and see like how does this actually work in the field. So he actually has a job at Reader Precision Solutions right now in manufacturing and is learning a ton. And they see the great things that he's capable of. So they actually have him doing some cost analysis things and some really cool things above and beyond just potentially working on the shop floor. So yes, if
it's really for anybody then, right?
It truly is for anyone. It's for the kids that want to get into the trades right after high school, the kids that want to go to a 2-year school and get some sort of training that way. Maybe, so it's for the kids that want to go to a 4-year school. If they want to go, let's say, like I said, the nursing one, they want to go business, they want to go marketing, a lot of things like in the agri-science. There's pathways for just about all jobs, which is pretty cool.
So if I thought if I knew what I wanted to do, but I'm like, I don't know, that seems like maybe something there wouldn't be a pathway. Is it worth asking?
It's always worth asking.
There might be one.
There might be one.
Okay.
And I'll use this as an example. Earlier this summer, I had a student reach out to me and said that they'd like to be a park ranger. Like, well, at 16 years old, you're probably not going to be a park ranger yet. But what we can do is we can reach out to the local park system, to the DNR. There's lots of different options like that available, and see how can we find an entry level job that could get you exposed to some of that field. And then maybe, and hopefully, you meet somebody that has some connections and you start learning more about it. And now that's kind of your open door into maybe a future career path there. that maybe you didn't know. So the youth apprenticeship, like we said, is kind of the ultimate capstone, because even though we have phenomenal programming in our buildings, we can't always replicate the work site inside of our classroom. And we can't replicate those professional conversations that our students are having with employees at Palmer Hamilton, at Aurora, at Adams Electric. We can't replicate those in the classroom. So getting the kids out of the building, on the job site, real life applications, it's invaluable.
Which is their classroom then?
It is their classroom. So like we said, you asked earlier, like, do they just build this into their schedule? Yes. So kids, first and foremost, a student doesn't have to leave school early to do a youth apprenticeship. They may work on weekends. They may work just at nights. They can do a full schedule and still complete a youth apprenticeship as long as they have 1 credit of related instruction. Now, let's say a student is a senior and they have almost all of their required credits completed already towards graduation. They still need to have 1 credit of related instruction, finish all graduation requirements, and then they could build that youth apprenticeship release into the rest of their schedule, whether that be at the very beginning of the hour, because maybe their employer would rather than be there from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m.
Sure.
Or maybe they leave at noon for the rest of the day and then they're working till 5 p.m. at night. We can live in a very flexible world depending on what your employer or what the student's employer prefers. So that's the great thing about Elkhorn Area School District is we don't close doors. Every opportunity is available. If a student has, if it's going to be what's best for that student, we're going to explore it, try to make it happen.
How can we make it happen? So what age or what grade does a youth apprentice need to be in? Could it be, is it anybody, or is there a certain, you have to be this old?
Yeah, great question. So a student has to be 16 years old into their junior, senior year. So like a sophomore is not eligible for the program yet. They have to be into their junior year and they have to be 16 years old to be eligible. Some common questions that I get from employers. Well, I would love to bring them on, but they're only 17. Like, what do they really know? They don't really know much yet. Or my insurance says that if they're not 18, I can't have them on the shop floor. So I would challenge that. Our students are coming in with a lot of background knowledge, and if not, we try to help bridge that gap and get them there. And the fact that if they're not 18 working on the shop floor in some of these more what they would consider dangerous areas, the youth apprenticeship program helps, I would not say waive, but helps relax those insurance issues, because this is an extension of the classroom. So there are still some restrictions. Students can't go on like second stories. They can't go on ladders like that. There are certain presses that they can't use in some heavy industrial equipment. They can't drive company vehicles. So there are still some rules and regulations that we have to abide by. But really, when they're in the youth apprenticeship program, signed student registration forms, training agreements, a lot of those under 18 laws are relaxed because it is an extension of the classroom.
So if I want my child to get into the youth apprenticeship, where do I start? Who do I go to? What do I need to do?
Yeah. So first and foremost, always a safe bet is to chat with your counselor. Chat with your counselor to say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a youth apprenticeship when I'm a junior or when I'm a senior, or maybe you are a senior and you don't quite know much about it, but you know who your counselor is, you have good working relationship with them. Go chat with them and they will give you a very good baseline of what the program is, and then they'll probably direct you straight to me. You can just reach straight out to me as well. So if you are a parent, a student, or an employer and you are interested in learning more about this, my email is ticking across the bottom there. Just shoot me an email. We can set up a phone call. I can do a site visit, whatever we need to do to really either ease your mind into this transition, or just have a conversation about like, hey, how can I get involved? I feel like we've had 2 or 3 this summer already that have never had youth apprentices before, and now we have youth apprentices starting there. We have a young lady going into dental, a pre-dental hygienist. We have a young lady that's going to be working at an attorney's office for the first time. So that's a really cool one. That was a lot of groundwork. We have a young lady working for a veterinarian clinic, straight equine. So working with horses, that's what her passion is. So she's working there, and a lot of late night phone calls with the veterinarian trying to walk
Right.
through what this could look like, and it's come to fruition. So those are the really, really cool ones. And then of course we have our local manufacturers in Walworth County are amazing, whether it's Reader Precision Solutions or Prop Shaft or Medicoil, Arnell Springs, and just to name a couple. They have multiple YAs, and they do the youth apprenticeship program year in and year out. And the students love working there because they work so well with the kids. And in turn, those kids they love that culture.
Sure.
They stay working there. And that's the ultimate goal, is to try to build that future pipeline of employees in around our area.
Yeah. And I'm hearing you saying that the businesses that are doing this are finding out we're building our workforce while we're giving an educational experience.
There are some employers that have been very innovative with this, to the point where they have someone uniquely connected to just working with incoming employees, but specifically the youth. So when a student goes on the job site, they are required to have a mentor, right? So that's typically whoever their supervisor is. But when you go into a large manufacturing company that's employing over 130 to 150 employees, that 17-year-old student might get kind of lost in the shuffle, right? Sure. Well, these companies have done a very good job of making sure that it is intentional training, mentorship, so that it's so the kid has a continuous path of growth in their company. And also, it's been
Bear with us here. We have
technical difficulty. All right. So hopefully we're good to go.
I don't think they missed anything important. You'd stop real quick.
Yeah. So so I was saying how the mentorship has been big. And some of the companies that have done a really phenomenal job with their students don't just put them on the shop floor sweeping, cleaning, but they put them through rotations of the different departments of their company, so the student can kind of see like what they do and they don't like. Because then, just like in any business, once someone feels passionate about what they're doing, not only does the quality of work go, but the quality of everything kind of increases. So it is a win-win situation at the end of the day. Our students are gaining valuable experiences that they can't replicate in the classroom. Our employers are getting future employees, giving back to the communities. And it really is a win-win.
Going back to something you said earlier, that learning how to navigate relationships, and then the contacts you meet as a student, adult contacts that you meet, are people that are already in the industry, and how valuable that could be as life moves on, as you get older, that you've already developed some pretty important contacts and relationships with people that have seen you work.
So like, what's the saying? It's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. And that
there's some truth to that.
There is some truth to that. So whether you're working at a local manufacturer and they don't have a full-time gig for you after graduation, all of these manufacturers, they all know each other, they all talk to each other, and they will vouch for you to get that next job. So we're going to wrap up here pretty quickly here, but main things that we do need to cover is that if a student is interested in a youth apprenticeship, one, you can reach out to me or reach out to your counselor, and then I can help get that process started. If a student already has a job and is interested in checking out what a youth apprenticeship is, reach out to me, and we might be able to turn the job you already have and the hours that you're already working into a youth apprenticeship. Then we would just need to work with your counselor to see how that can work with your schedule to make sure you have that related instruction. Some of the common myths are that, like, if you want a youth apprenticeship, you just say you put it on your schedule, and now you're in a youth apprenticeship, and maybe we put you into a job. You do have to get employment on your own. We can help. We can help connect the dots. We can help work with you. We can help you with your resume, with some interview skills. Whatever we need to do to help you get there, we can do that. However, a student ultimately is responsible for applying for the job, interviewing for the job, and then gaining employment. And then once they're in employment, keeping employment. So then on the employer side, they're going to mentor them and make sure that those students can kind of get through those certain competencies. And if there's ever any trouble reach back out to the school. This is a partnership. We can help support the student from our end. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out, then we figure out a plan to maybe find something that better fits that student or better fits that employer. So like I said, it's a win-win program, great for students and great for employers.
Yeah, if you want to know more about the program, contact Dustin. You're a wealth of information. You do an amazing job with just one of the great programs that we have here at Elkhorn Area School District. And I would encourage everybody to get involved. You can't miss on this. Mm-hmm. It's a great experience. It's a great opportunity. Reach out to Dustin.
One data point I want to share that always is sort of kind of eye-opening is that so last year Elkhorn had around 50 youth apprentices. We want to increase that number drastically, but last year was about 50 youth apprentices. So when they work 450 hours minimum, a lot of those are working up to 600 hours. So let's say they're roughly getting 45 to 50,000 hours of work. Now you multiply that by the average wage that our students are earning is around $15 an hour. You start getting up into that $750,000 to $1 million earned that our students are earning in that school year. And then you turn that on to when those students earn that money, where's that money going? Back into our economy. So our students just in the Elkhorn Area School District alone, that's roughly around about a $4 to $4.5 million economic impact just on the Elkhorn area by our students in the Youth Apprenticeship program alone. And that's not even capturing the students that aren't in the program.
Sure.
So
that are working. Yeah.
So it's a win for all.
It is a win. Well, thank you. Thanks for taking time, and thanks for all you do. You do some amazing things, and I know you work really hard at this. So yeah, thank 100%. You.
Tune in next week, and we're actually going to be spotlighting an employer who they were youth apprentices, and they hire youth apprentices every year. So tune in next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.